Good afternoon and welcome to today's lunch break with the Rabbi. Today is Tuesday, the second day of the intermediate days of Sukkot. It is the fourth day of Sukkot as we continue the celebrations of Sukkot. I therefore would like to begin today with saying L'chaim. L'chaim, wishing everybody happiness and health on this special day of Sukkot. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam v'orei pri hagafen. As we continue our discussion about Sukkot, one of the things we find, the festival of Sukkot, we have the mitzvah to eat in a sukkah. A sukkah you can call a contemporary hut, tent, whatever you may be. But the sukkah, for all whatever reason that the Torah calls it, is a temporary dwelling. In fact, many ask a very common question. Why is it that we celebrate Sukkot now in the fall? If we're celebrating the fact that the Jewish people left the land of Egypt and they traveled through the Sinai desert, wouldn't it make sense to celebrate Sukkot in the spring? This common answer which is given is because in the spring, everybody goes out to the sukkah, everybody makes tents, everybody eats outdoors. We wouldn't look any different. It wouldn't be seen as if we're doing it for a mitzvah that God commanded. However, when we do it on Sukkot, when we do it in the fall, that we do it in the winter, it is specifically seen as a mitzvah that God has given us. But here is another unique idea about Sukkot. Going back to the first patriarch of the Jewish people, Abraham, it tells us that one of the things that he excelled in was inviting guests into his home. And wherever he met another person, he always offered them to stay at his home, giving them food, drink, and a place to sleep, and escort them on their way. And as they would be there, he would educate them about the concepts of Judaism and monotheism. At the time, it was monotheism, giving them the understanding and appreciation and belief in one God. As the Medrash goes on to explain, that when people would come into his tent, it was open with four doors on all sides to welcome people from all sides. And he would say, have you eaten, you drank, you enjoyed it, now you have to thank God. They would say, who's God? Who should I thank? They said, if you don't want to thank God, okay, who would give you food in the desert? And therefore you would have to pay a handsome sum to be able to pay for what he gave you. So therefore he, so to speak, coerced them into recognizing, but this way he got them to believe in monotheism, because at that time it was something strange and foreign, and only through some type of coercion to let them realize was he able to do it. But the Torah goes on to tell us that one day after Abraham was sitting by the front of his tent, after having circumcision at 99 years old, he was waiting there for somebody to come and visit his tent, and nobody was coming. Finally, he sees in the distance three angels, who look like three Arabs at the time, and he invites them to come to his place. And he tells them, come, join here, v'yishanu tachas ha'etz, have something to eat, and have some lodging, you'll sit in the shade under the tree that was there. The commentaries explain to us that tell us, the Medrash says that in the merit of Abraham's unbelievable hospitality, we today have merited the mitzvah of Sukkah. What's the relationship? What's the concept here? Well, what's the concept of Abraham's relationship of when talking about hospitality? Abraham's hospitality was not something that he was obligated to do. Abraham was not obligated to observe any of the mitzvot. And Abraham's hospitality was something that he was able to observe a commandment that God has given, showing appreciation to a human being, not looking at the difference of who they are. Welcoming everybody into his tent, regardless of what race, creed, or color they've been. What is the concept of a sukkah? A sukkah is something that unites, as we mentioned yesterday. A sukkah is something that unites everybody together. The greatest scholar and the smallest child sit in the same sukkah. A sukkah is something that brings people together. That's why, because of the unity that he did in his hospitality, he merited the mitzvah of Sukkah, which also is a concept of hospitality. But it's more than that. A Sukkah, if we look at it, it's learned from the concept that he put them, that they were able to sit in the shade of his tree. What does it mean, a tree? What's the uniqueness of a tree? A tree, while it's connected to the ground, it continues to grow and sprout and have branches and leaves and give shade. One of the things that we find about its tree as well is that for the tree to give shade, nothing is affected by the tree. The same idea is true with a person. The human being continues to grow and escalate in their advances, and they can share with everyone around them and still lose nothing from themselves. But here's how it reminds us the mitzvah of Sukkah. The mitzvah of Sukkah is covered, as you can see, by the branches. The branches, the schach, the bamboo. You can either use bamboo or you can use other branches, but there was one condition. The branches have to be disconnected from the source. Over here it tells us that yes, the mitzvah of Sukkah reminds us of the concept that every single one of us can continue to grow, and regardless of how great we are and our potential, we can always connect to God. However, what gives the human being the ability to connect to God? Sukkah is a mitzvah. How do we connect to God through a mitzvah, divine commandment? That is only through God. Which that is the idea of disconnecting, so to speak, disconnecting from the earthly matter and connecting to something spiritual. And here it even gets even better. It says when Mashiach will come, all Jewish people would sit in one sukkah, and that's going to be made of the Leviathan skin, that rare, very big fish that we're going to eat and enjoy when Mashiach comes, but we'll be sitting all together in one sukkah. That sukkah is going to be made out of the skin of the Leviathan. The word Leviathan in Hebrew means lover, comes from the word to connect, to tell us that even though seemingly you look at fish in general, you always see they go in schools, they travel together. But we talk about the Leviathan, it tells us that the mitzvah of Sukkah connects us to God. And that will be the connecting item that all Jewish people will be sitting in one with the time of the coming of Mashiach. And it is our hope and prayer that that time be very soon, that we'll all be sitting in the Sukkah of the Leviathan. We'll be sitting together and enjoying the great meal that we will be served with the coming of Mashiach through the mitzvahs that we do every single day, acting, being kind to the people around us, being hospitable to those around us, regardless of who they are. This will bring us to the ultimate mitzvah of Sukkah, that everybody be well, healthy, and good, safe, that we'll be able to celebrate with the coming of Mashiach, enjoying that amazing Sukkah. We're hoping for it very, very soon. May it be now. Amen. God bless you. And again, L'chaim, wishing you all a happy Sukkot. Yes, in the black fridge, all the way in the back, I think.